This, well, this is a KTM 200XC. This is a 2008, and I bought it and I built it, and I've been riding the tar out of it. Did hair scramble races with it. I do woods riding with it, and honestly, this bike fits me really well. It's super light, has tons of power for the woods, and I fell in love with it. And it's a bike that I've been looking for a long time. I had 250s, tried different bikes, this and that, that. Everybody said, get this, get that. And I come across this bike, and I bought it. Super cheap. It was rebuilt. It did need a lot of maintenance, and that's where a lot of the cost came in. But after I put all the maintenance into it, did some oil changes, some gaskets, filled it up with gas, and I hit the woods with it. And honestly, this thing is a woods weapon. This is an enduro weapon. This thing does really, really well. Climbs good, has the power that I need, jumps over logs. It's just pretty much unstoppable. If you can stay on it, it will go. Now in these videos, the hills look super flat, but I can promise you that they are super steep. And some of them are pretty steep, and you don't get a good run at them because it's just like a logging road, and it's hard to get up them. But I love this bike. I built this bike with a FMF shorty in the rear, and it has a gnarly pipe, and it has a lot of low end to mid torque and power. Kind of falls off at the top end, but that's what you expect when you build a woods bike. If you're doing a hair scramble or you're racing through the woods with your buddies, you're not going wide open in the highest gear. You need that low to mid power, and that's what I built. Now, don't get me wrong, this bike does rip down the road. I mean, this thing is flying right here. In it once more. Everybody's like, oh, you should have bought a 250 because of your size and all this. This bike keeps up with 250s, no problem. I don't really know what they mean by that. This bike rips. You don't have to hold it going up a hill. This thing will climb. And with the tires that I have with it, I don't have a problem with it at all. And I love this bike. So if you're looking at the KTM 200s, I would definitely get one. They don't make them anymore. Now, if you want electric start, you want to get the new ones. But honestly, this bike kicks so easy that you really don't need an electric start. But I bought a 2008 when they did the frame change, and it's not heavy, but they say the 2007 and down are a lot lighter because they use the 125 frames. I'm sure they are, but I just like the 2008 because they updated some stuff and the parts are a little bit more available, and after 2008 a lot of parts interchange, so that's why I like the 2008 model. It has like the full size frame like the 250s, and it shares the plastics with the 250s and the 300s and all that good stuff. But if you're in the market for a 200 and you're wanting an older one and you're not looking to spend a whole lot, definitely take a look at the old KTM 200s. Don't sleep on these, man, because they are a woods weapon. This thing does amazing in the woods. I was super impressed. I wasn't expecting a whole lot when I bought this thing, power-wise, and the way it just set up and old technology. But honestly, it's a good bike. Now, it does have its problems. Sometimes it gets a little squirrely just because of the offset of the triple clamps and the way the bike is. But you can do that. You can get rid of that by setting the bike up a little bit. Now, these KTM 200s, they like a little bit more sag in the rear, and it kind of does help with that. But I always just put a little bit more sag in the rear. Bike does pretty good. High speeds, climbing hills, whatever it may be, this bike can do it. And honestly, I love it, and I'll probably hold on to it. We did a lot of work to this bike, and we went through a couple plastic changes and stuff like that. But over the winter time, I'm actually going to tear this bike down, do another full rebuild, and actually get the frame powder coated and put all fresh stuff on it. So it'll be like brand new for next season. Now, I'm not a hardcore racer. I do a hair scramble from time to time. I just did one not too long ago that the video that you see at the beginning, I did build a crank seal, which these are super easy to put a crank seal in. A couple bucks, about 3 hours you can have a crank seal in it. But I was doing really good. I was getting through the woods and starting to pass people. I was climbing some hills. It was a muddy mess. But honestly, I was kind of upset when the crank seal blew because I was itching and ready to go because I wanted to see what this little bike could do. And this thing's a whole shot winner if you can kick it fast enough. This thing will rip taking off the line. It's just the way it's set up. I got the power band set where it needs to be. Like I said, I give this bike like an 8 out of 10. It's not perfect. It's got some old technology, but honestly, I love this little bike. So, I probably have, I don't know, a lot of hours on it, and it still has good compression, and they say you can get a lot out of the top end on these bikes, but I don't recommend just doing that. Do maintenance, change the top ends, check the crank, keep up on your maintenance, check the reeds and that stuff like that. But this bike's pretty cool, and honestly, I don't have a desire for another bike. Every once in a while I'll get an itch, and I'll look at another 200 for some reason. I don't know why. I would like to get an older one to see how it compares to the full-size frame and the 125 frame, just to see the difference in how it reacts to hill climbing and stuff like that. So I am in the market for an older one just to see the difference, and if it's that much of a difference, is that why people, desire the older bikes other than the 2008 and up. So I'll give you a little close-up of the FMF Shorty pipe that we got on here, and this is the bike. This is the bike that I ride. It has Tush Recon rear tire and a Fat Recon in the front. The fatty tire has an oversized tank. It's a pretty nice bike. You can't beat it for what they are, and I love it. And honestly, if you're in the market for a in-between bike between like a 150 or a 250, this is the bike to grab.